Fathergamer Podcast.
You ready? You ready for this?
I guess.
I'm ready for this. Hold on. Get ready. Okay, we are ready for episode 91 of the Fathergamer Podcast. This is the great number 91. I don't have a sexual joke for this episode number. I don't even know what one would be with a 91, but hopefully it wouldn't be with someone 91. But anyway, how are you, buddy?
I am well.
Yeah, that almost sounds like a lie right there. It's like
I was looking up the podcast to make sure we are on 91, and we are.
Yeah, I
just
keep up with
sure.
that stuff. Other than the terrible joke that I made, I keep up with that stuff. It's episode 91. Trust me, I've felt every 91 of them, or 90 of them in my soul.
Yeah. We got some backache from it.
Huh?
We got some backache for sure from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm joined, as always, by Mike Silverhawks. Petty, how are you doing? You're doing well.
I am doing well.
It is the dog days of summer here in Texas. The palatial Fathergamer compound. It is a balmy 106 degrees every day. So we are still indoors, trying to not cook like some kind of McDonald's hamburger underneath one of those little lights all day long.
But surprisingly, the humidity's been down, so it's felt really good.
It's in your mind. It's in your mind. We've gotten used to how hot it is. That's a good chunk of what it is.
That's not possible for me, though.
I don't know, buddy, because it's just I think it's because we've just hit this crazy
Maybe because
number.
I shaved my head again.
Maybe.
I'll say that.
But is the fact that we've hit over 100
every day.
Many times, and it's every day. Like, we hit 99 one day, and it's like, ooh, we hit a cold spell. Like, and it was weird. It was like, I remember it was like 90 degrees a couple afternoons ago, because a storm was literally going around where we live, the town we live in. If you looked at the radar, it made a circle around us, but never touched us. It just was
we may have had like one sprinkle hit, and then that was it.
Well, lucky you, because the only liquid that's touched my head has been from a bird. So it's
the bird said, "Screw you, Texas."
It's pretty much, but it's been a very crazy, incredibly hot terrible summer. But we've been inside and playing games and watching movies and TV shows and just trying our damnedest to not turn into, like I said, the human version of the McDonald's. The fillet of fish.
The fillet of fish. Holy crap, those things are small now.
Well, everything is. Like, if you've noticed, like, I don't know how it is across the planet, but I'm sure it's the same thing. Across the board, you are getting far less product and
for the same price or more.
Usually more now for the same thing. It's just unfortunate that that's where we're at right now. I sit there and listen to I'm kind of curious to find out some of our listeners if they have the same thing. If they do the same thing, I'll listen to different podcasts like this one, but I'll also listen to like business podcasts and stuff about the economy and whatnot. And so many of them talk about how they're actually, one of them I heard the other day, you're getting 6 less potato chips or crisps and the average the average bag of potato chips / crisps. Like, the fact that we know that is kind of funny, but the fact that they're going, okay, what is the margin here that's going to make us or break us? It's 6 potato chips. That right there is the margin.
And apparently, that's the limit right there.
Yeah, that will change it. Between that and the $2.50 you're paying for Chip Air, which, oh my god, on that, like, how much do we pay for that stuff? Like, I don't know how many bags I've opened it.
What did we figure that out? Was it nitrogen? The puff that goes into it.
It's unused guilt from eating the whole bag.
Well, that's true.
But I have noticed though that a lot of the games that I've been playing lately seem to be longer, at least.
That's good.
One of the games I'll be talking about later. The games that we will be talking about and shortly will be Sniper Elite 5 and Multiversus and what was the other games that we said? I said KOTOR 2, but we'll skip that because we've got a long list. Stray was another one.
Well, we already kind of discussed KOTOR last time too, so
yeah, that's true. It was, and then,
to my knowledge, it's Stray, Multiversus, and Sniper at the moment.
Elite,
I think so. Yeah.
So, hold on. I just got a message. It's called shrinkflation. Just say it. It's fine.
Like shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation is what it's called.
Smaller product for higher prices.
Wow.
That's my wife.
Hill country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a product that we get. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but
Why not?
Well, I'd rather not. But they make a popsicle. It's a Texas grocery store. They make a popsicle that my wife and I have been getting for years, and
they were $1.82.
They were $1.82. Now they're like $2.14, and they've cut it's almost in half the size of the popsicle.
The popsicles, yeah.
So it is crazy how we've so that's a generic brand too. So that's the cheaper brand. So you are but anyway,
generic but tasty.
Yeah, but tasty. But the games we are going to be talking about are Sniper Elite, Multiversus, and Stray. So we'll also be talking about The Gray Man, and which is the new movie on Netflix. We'll be talking about Thor, Love and Thunder, and to round things off, we're going to be talking about a lot of MCU news from San Diego Comic-Con and a few other bits and pieces from San Diego Comic-Con. So if that sounds interesting to you, sit back. Let's get into this episode of the Fathergamer Podcast.
No, sounds like it's going to be boring.
That's going to be great. We'll just edit you out. So I guess we'll start with the first game, Sniper Elite 5.
Okay.
That's going to be the first game in What's in Your System. I'm waiting for it.
What's in your system?
Yeah, there we go. it's okay. So you and I both are, I would say, pretty decent fans of the Sniper Elite games. I've been playing them for quite a while.
I was gonna say you've been playing them longer than I have. Yes.
It's just something about them, especially as the series has progressed, that is sort of like, I don't know. The best way I can describe it is, and I don't play golf, but this is just kind of reminds me of golf. Or what I've seen people, how they play golf with their friends. As the series progressed, it had a lot more co-op feel to the progression of the map sizes and the mission structures and how you can tackle missions and that kind of, like, the verticality of the play space that you find your character in. And it's always really fun to figure out, okay, there's like 5 different ways to take out this compound or take out, like, Sniper Elite 4 has you taking out this commandant, this Nazi, officer, some guy high on the chain. And if you really wait for just a few minutes, after, not too long after you get into the very
beginning, yeah,
you can take him out. You can literally take out the bad guy within the first 5 minutes of the game and of that level. And it's great. Like, it's finding the fun and interesting ways of taking out Nazis, which, let's be honest, there's never too much to taking out a Nazi. Like, and I mean, like, killing them, not taking them out to dinner or something like that.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Yeah, no, there is no best friend Nazis. No.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, but it is something, though, that is I will say it is something that I think at some point I would love to have a discussion about a little bit more, especially in the times that we live in, about some of the violence with the game. I mean, it is called Sniper Elite.
Right.
And we are living in a time where there's a lot of
discussion. It doesn't sugarcoat it.
No. And the thing that both of us find a lot of humor with and like to watch, and I'll be honest, it's fun because it's killing Nazis. But they have an X-ray cam, not X-rated cam. That's a whole different game. Where it shows the bullet, like, leaving the weapon and
traversing across the map.
Yeah, which sometimes, again, if it's all the way across the other side of the map, it's even better because it's like, well, that was 3 minutes of watching a bullet go across the map, or
so
and it goes into slow motion. Kind of way, and it'll actually show the bullet go into the body and show like a vertical slice or a 3D slice of what the bullet looks like going through the body, like some kind of anatomy and physiology book. And it's sometimes hysterical because, one, you can shoot the nads off of Nazis. So you actually get testicle shots off, and there's nothing better than shooting the testicles or the penis off of a Nazi. I mean, it's just taking out all their power. And
and then you've also got the grenade hits too, which are even are good too.
Oh, you can set a mine down. Or a grenade, you can leave it on a body, and it can be found, and it'll kill the person that finds it or runs over the mine, and it does a slow-mo explosion and shows like, oh my god, sometimes the ragdoll physics or whatever happens to the person is great to watch, because I've seen them actually flip over each other and do.
Yeah, but I've hit the grenade on their belt before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's crazy, like, super amazing detail in each game, especially since 3 has progressively gotten more detailed and more just visceral, and just such a overused word in gaming, but it really has. It's just so gritty and action packed, and you get to really like love the main character that you play in all the sniper games, and for the life of me, I cannot remember his name.
I don't remember his name either at the moment. Yeah.
I absolutely love the dude, but I'm not going to even try to remember his name. But I've played 5 games with him, and I cannot tell it to you. But he is a cool American, and it's Carl Fairburn. I remember his name.
There we go. I was about to look it up.
So, but anyway, good Carl. He loves shooting them Nazis in the gonads. But it's a game also made by one of our favorite developers. Both, I will admit, at one time, professionally as well as in a friendly nature. We've gotten to know them over E3s and whatnot, and they're just a fun group out of the UK. And
you haven't said their name yet.
Oh, Rebellion, and they own 2000 AD, which
we discussed
also
in
makes
the last episode.
Yeah, makes Judge Dredd and all that. Anyway, the game itself, this game. I love them. I love this game. It's really fun.
But
there is the biggest problem that I'm having, and I think it's more to do with me than it is necessarily to do with the games. Because the game itself plays fairly similar to 4, but more open. I've been having an issue with levels being almost too open, like the Assassin's Creed games recently and whatnot. I feel like are almost too big. Like the traversal through the environment is almost too open, and I do this kind of like squirrel kind of thing where I'm just like, okay, well, I can't stay focused on getting through an area, but at the same time, it does become like a playground, and it goes back to that thing that I was saying about like golf. When you're playing with a friend, you can sit there and go, you see that Nazi over there? That's,
exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm going
to
hit
line
him.
up your shots, yeah.
Yeah, and it even has that little like thing that you do with golf games where you can see where it's supposedly going to bounce, and the wind trajectory and all that kind of stuff. But really, honestly, so far, my biggest issue is at first, especially, it was so big, the very first environment that you get dropped into, that I just felt kind of overwhelmed. And again, I think that's more me, partially also because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to collecting everything, and
I'll have to get it soon and see if it has the same problem with me as well.
Well, odds are we'll probably play it together.
Yeah.
It might not, but that I also would like to see, because you are big. Your biggest issue is with maps that with gaming and kind of learning an area, and so I would like to see.
And being able to duck when I need to duck and not get shot at and killed.
Right. And I personally love to play these games. And that's one of the things with this series. You can go into an area and run and gun it's really hard to get through a level and do so unless you're leveled up, because it does have especially this one, almost like a role-playing game level up system.
Mm-hmm.
More so than I would say the other ones do.
Okay.
But it's really hard to just run around and just shoot indiscriminately and not get found and whatnot. So you have to hide in weeds, or you have to hide in certain areas, or find a high perch, or make a distraction. And they have great new tactics and new traps and this kind of thing. But one of the things they added this time is they added this feature, which is both amazing and horseshit at the same time. And I mean that by the classic, get good.
Right.
Just stop whining and get good kind of thing. They added a feature where you can turn it on and it connects online. And while you're trying to go through these environments, you can have a real, honest to God person playing a Nazi that is like a super sniper, like your mirror opposite, that it's hunting you down.
I thought they had that in 4 also.
They might have, but I don't remember.
It wasn't as prevalent though.
But this, oh dear Lord, this is like. This is cat and mouse time. So it's almost like playing Fortnite mixed with, a regular...
the regular part of the game, yeah.
The regular part of the game. So you're constantly having to look out for, the one Nazi that's not quite like the others. Which one's not like the others? And there are different ways for him to find you. If you camp in one area, it'll eventually say, "Oh, he's staying in this grass. He's waiting for you."
And if they're using binoculars or the scope, you can start singing. You can see the little, the glimmer of the glass.
Or if you find these phones, you can actually call on the phone. It's You call into the Nazi intel.
Nice.
1-800-FIND-NAZI. And you call into the Nazi intel, and they'll let you know that, he's over here, and it'll kind of show them, kind of run roundabout. Because I had one
area,
where it pinged in this general area, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. He's over here. I know where he is. Thank God he's not near me." And somehow we found each other and passed each other in a hallway, and just ran past each other. And then I was like, "Oh God!" And I turned around and shot him. And then it was like
he didn't know either.
It's really weird. Like, we both just kind of ran past each other, and then it was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to shoot you." And then we both kind of turned. And I shot him, just happened to be just a little quicker, and I winged him. And he's trying to get up, and I shot him again. And he said, basically, they're not going to die from that. And so I had to shoot him again. I was like, oh my God, that was... And then I had another one, though, that was literally camping. And every time I went out of an area, he was getting me each time. And I was just... that felt like horse shit. But then turn around, and the one that I sent you, the video that I sent you just a minute ago... I figured out this guy was stalking me, and I waited inside these weeds, and he went to go raise his binoculars, and I popped him right in the face, and it did the slow-mo cam right through his face, and I was like, okay, that felt cool. I felt cool. But the thing is, I like to play very stealthy in these games. I like to feel like, I'm the World War II version of Batman with the sniper rifle. Like, I want to be in the shadows.
No parents.
But anyway, so Sniper Elite 5, I will be playing a lot more of that at some point. You'll probably pick up a copy.
I need to pick up a copy, yeah.
And if you can find it, because it's very hard to find.
I'll probably get it digitally.
I think I have a feeling I know why it's really hard to find, especially here in America right now. But again, we'll get into that topic at another date, because I would like to talk about it, but I think on an episode where we're going to talk about all this other stuff, I think it deserves its own.
It should deserve its own thing, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely do. Because as somebody who loves me some violence in video games and movies and stuff, I think it is something we could talk about. But I would really like to talk about it, probably with maybe a few people too, and really give it its own show, maybe even. So the next game I'd like to talk about is Multiversus. I know you played a little bit of it, and for the listeners that are listening to this amazing podcast, because I already know I just know it's an awesome episode. I mean, we talked very much. We already talked about when her find a Nazi. So I mean, how so. Multiversus is Warner Brothers and Warner Games, to be specific.
Yeah.
Their take on the Super Smash Brothers genre, as it were now, like their kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
The brawler, the icon character brawler kind of experience. And it's very interesting, the characters that they've chosen. You can be like Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, a rated R property. Or you can be Bugs Bunny. Or you can be Batman. Or you can be Shaggy. Or you can be Blue, or you can be R. But it's like it's funny that it's okay. We're gonna find out which characters people will probably buy. That's because this game is essentially a free-to-play game on the same kind of, I would say the same kind of way as like a Fortnite almost.
Yeah.
It's got a season pass. It has,
which you don't have to get if you don't want to, but it will.
It
will. Your gameplay will count towards it still.
Yep. The only thing that you that's really to buy is different varying versions of the characters, like different outfits or different takes on some of your favorite Warner Brother characters.
So maybe similar to the gold the gold Superman that I saw today.
Kind of, yeah. No, actually, I think that is one. There is like they have the Wonder Woman that is closer to the Wonder Woman, the recent one where the one where she had the pants.
Yeah.
They have that one, and they've got different forms of Batman, and I'm sure at some point, because there's like 800 forms of Batman, they'll have all of them. At some point, you will be the nipple Batman from Batman Forever, or whatever. But it's gameplay style. Gameplay, as somebody who's played I always say it's a shitload of Smash Brothers or of any of that genre, because I've even played the Nickelodeon one that came out last year, I believe, or maybe even earlier this year. And that one's a bit too floaty. Like, that one feels sort of like you're bouncing on clouds. It's really, it's not great. It's not horrible, but it feels like really good for kids. Like, little kids, I think, would enjoy that one more so. Because I was really excited, because I'm like, I could be a Ninja Turtle fighting, like Aang from the Airbender, like the Nickelodeon one. So that's the reason I was like, okay, I'm getting this game. And then I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting. and then this one came out, and I was like, okay, we'll see. And I would say it's somewhere in between.
I would say it's in between, yeah.
It's not as good as Smash Brothers, not in the slightest, at least not yet.
Yeah.
I could see where over time it could get tuned up a little bit more, and it's definitely, they've thought about the the mechanics. They've really thought about it, how it's going to work, especially maybe even on the competitive version of the game. As you know, several years ago, they had a PlayStation version of this kind of game that was PlayStation characters, and it was pretty good, but it suffered some of the same issues with gameplay. So I'm a little worried, but I'm thinking because of if it's not good, people are just not going to pay for it. They're not going to buy the skins. They're not going to buy stuff. So they're going to have to constantly keep up with it and update it and make sure that it's a decent enough game. Like, it might not be Smash Brothers good, but it needs to be a decent game that I can't see them not spending the money and making sure that it stays that way.
Speaking of paying for it, there is a Founders version, and then there's like another version, like several tiers above that. There's don't understand. It says it's free to play, but obviously it's in beta right now, so that's probably why it only has those other options right now. But I didn't understand why it wouldn't let me download it as a free copy unless I got the beta.
Because right now, but by the time people listen to this, it'll actually will be free.
It should be out at that point, yeah.
Unless you do, there were two ways to get into the free beta. There you could
specifically not the open beta right now, but like the private early beta.
Well, there's not even the open beta. It's closed
right now. Yes,
it's closed right now. By the time you listen to this, it will be open. You can go to your.
It's like several days from now.
I'm pretty sure by the time you listen to this, that it'll even. I think even the cell phone version will be out. What they basically did was, if you wanted to play it quote early, you either had to be a game reviewer or know somebody, or go to the Versus website and sign up through this whole thing where you connect your Twitch account to it and do this thing called drops on Twitch, and watch somebody that has specifically drops enabled for this game, and you had to watch an hour of it, and then it unlocks, and then you have to go get the code. You have to go basically check it on your Twitch, and then go back to the Versus
website to get the code,
and then get the code for the preferred place you want to play.
Which I had problems with, because PlayStation accounts right now, if you already linked it ahead of time, it would not send you the code. So I had to unlink and then relink, and then I got the code from the website. I was like, really?
Yeah, see, mine didn't do that.
Yours didn't do that. Mine did, yeah.
But I was reading people were having issues with the drop system in general. It wasn't counting. It wasn't showing up. It was a whole... And that's, whatever. That's not the developer's problem. That's somebody...
It's Twitch. At Twitch and WB Games website,
Or, whomever. But it as a whole, though, I will say this. I feel like the game has promise. Will I pick it up? Absolutely. Will you and I probably play some nights of it? Oh, definitely.
Sure. Yeah.
Will I stream it? I don't know, because I really don't want to show people how bad I am at it. But actually, I'm undefeated so far. So I don't know how that happened, but so far, I guess all the every time I've played Smash Brothers has helped a little bit. But I know I'm going to run into that patch of like these ace players, especially when the open beta happens, because when you're seeing the closed beta, you'll see people's names, and it's all people associated with streaming and gaming press and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to let everyone in a little secret on that. Most of us aren't that great at gaming. I mean, we're not terrible. We're not terrible at gaming, but I mean, we're not like, we don't sit and play we don't play one game like over and over again all day long unless you're like specific streamers.
Right.
Like the whole name of the game is to play a game, show it off, and move on to the next game. So most of us aren't amazing at every game. So when I run into certain streamers, I could see their name and I was like, oh, I'm probably going to be okay. Like, I have a feeling I'm going to be okay. And I'm sure they felt the same when they saw Fathergamer. They're like, oh, this is going to be fun.
I'll tell you that I lost at least one match, and it was against the AI version of Jake the Dog.
Oh. And I've
seen the live action actual people playing Jake the Dog. They are like hardcore, like they use their little punches all the time, like an extended punch to keep away from people.
Yeah.
Jake the Dog is OP.
Yeah, he is one of them, I have a feeling. And so far the characters,
a lot of people are going to play him.
So far the characters that I've seen being played the most are Batman, Wonder Woman, because she's the first character everyone gets.
Right.
At least that I got. I thought everybody did. On PlayStation, they're giving away a character right now.
Well, I got Shaggy first, and then I unlocked Wonder Woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me Wonder Woman first, so that's funny. But they, you know,
maybe they both came at the same time. I don't remember.
They might have both, and then I will admit I had a couple bucks in my PlayStation account. I went ahead and picked up the season pass because I was like, it's like $5 right now. Oh, that's well, I'll do it. Yeah, I was like, I'll do it. I'll see. Like, we'll see, especially with us, how much we play Fortnite and other games. I don't know if I'll actually like get very far in it, but I mean, I'll unlock a few things.
Oh yeah.
But we'll definitely talk more about that later. Cool. The last game we're going to talk about is Stray. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. One, because I have something planned that I want to do with the game that I would rather people kind of see. What we're going to do with the game. But I will tell you this. I think it's a very unique, fun game so far.
Okay.
Like, what I've played of it is very heady at times, but just, you know, sometimes you feel like you're actually playing like this weird simulator of a cat. Like, it even has a meow button.
Nice.
And then there'll be things where you know that somebody is clearly loves cats or has a cat or something because they'll put stuff in the way. Like, there's one area where there's these paint cans and they're on the verge of this little like ladder area above the scaffolding, and you can knock the paint cans off like a cat does a cup of water. And I was just like, okay, this is just an asshole cat move. Like, this is great. And it is a very weird like game where you start out where you're just this stray cat with this group of cats, and then it goes into this weird sci-fi, you know, ecological tale of I don't know. I don't want to get too far into the story, but it is a really fun, unique gaming experience that'll probably take you 6-7 hours,
which makes sense. It's a pretty small game.
Yeah, and maybe a little more if you find all the little objects and do all the little things. But I don't know how many times you'll replay through, but I've definitely enjoyed it. And
having seen one of the videos from IGN, I know that you can also get your head stuck in a bag.
Yes, there's a lot of really funny, sad, like things that come up in the game that you're just like, oh, oh my God, I can't believe they put this in there. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but I absolutely loved it. If you're a PlayStation Plus Premium, I guess, because you have PlayStation Plus.
I had the regular and I had to pay for it, yeah.
Yeah, but if you have Premium, I believe it's Premium that you can download it for free right now. And
yeah, it came up as the quote extra. It said extra on it, so I think it's part of the Premium package.
I would
the middle tier.
Recommend downloading it. It's such a fun experience. I love it when games though come out and it's something that I haven't done. As someone who's been gaming since pretty much the beginning of gaming, it's the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, it's fun to find something unique and really get to sit down with it and play it and feel like, wow, you guys did something pretty unique here, and I'm very I'm very excited to see what else this studio does in the future.
Me too.
It's very cool. Like it's just the way to say it. It's just a very cool game, and I love that kind of stuff. So,
and for those that don't have the PlayStation Plus. The PlayStation Plus Premium package or whatever, it's only $30, so it's actually really cheap. Go get it.
Yeah, or you could go buy the PlayStation Premium, but that's beside the point. But you and I had a very long discussion about that. We won't get into it today. But anyway, what I would like to do is we're going to go ahead and move into a few movies right quick, and then after that we'll get into the San Diego Comic-Con stuff. The first movie I want to talk about, and there's a reason, because this is all kind of themed a little bit with the same thing with MCU for the most part, is the same duo that made the last two Avenger movies. And also did the Winter Soldier and several other movies. They directed the this movie called The Gray Man, Gray Man. I can't remember if it's The Gray Man or Gray Man, which is on.
I believe you said Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's actually, from what I understand, it's Netflix's most expensive movie they've ever made. Which
really,
what I was looking at is it's like $200 million or something like that to make this movie.
200.
Yeah, which honestly, that's
200.
200. But the one that came out with The Rock and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, because some of them are hitting like 300 plus.
Red Notice was like 150 million.
Yeah.
And this is Joe and Anthony Russo.
The Russo brothers, yeah.
The Russo brothers. It has oh, bloody hell. All of a sudden, I forgot the name of the people in it. It's Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans in it.
Thank you. I was looking at them right now, yeah.
Ryan Gosling plays an assassin, essentially. Not essentially. He is an assassin that is... he dabbles in the gray area for the U.S. government. So
got it. That makes sense.
The area of
off
the books, the Black Ops kind of thing. And he ends up with a MacGuffin of sorts. If
nice.
if you don't know what a MacGuffin is, it's basically an object that everyone's chasing, and Chris Evans' character, which is a paid assassin. Like, he's one of those like third party groups that the government actually does hire in real life. He's paid to hunt down Gosling's character. I will say this: holy crap, this movie is really well shot. I mean, it's the Russo brothers, of course it is. It's got these.
They've had a little bit of practice, yeah.
Just a little bit of practice. They've only directed the most, like, the highest grossing movies of all time. But it's got these swinging shots, is the best way I could talk about it. This way, these I don't know if it's armatures or on drones or whatever they're doing. It's this crazy way of, like, these, it kind of goes here, like they're moving their arm out and going, here, look at this is the shot.
Right.
And it's this amazing, like, cinematic moments that are just like, it's not like I'm saying this is like this is like Casablanca or anything like that. Like, no. This is a, dyed in the wool action movie, but it is a very well made action movie where it has moments where it kind of feels like The Professional, and moments where it feels like you're watching a John Wick film, and it's a little bit of Mission Impossible with, like, especially the current Mission Impossible, like the recent ones, or even if you're watching Skyfall, like some of the cool imagery that was in Skyfall, like, it kind of takes in all of this, and then you have this completely dickish asshole Chris Evans. Like, his character, like, he has done everything possible from Knives Out, which he did before this, to this. He's done everything not to be America's ass. Like, he's become America's asshole. But it, like, is more what he's being. And
so he's moved from the larger piece to a very small piece.
Small piece, yes. Definitely, he's the sphincter of the of this.
That's great.
And it's he's great in it. Like, I absolutely, like, his comedic chops are really he plays.
He does have very
asshole.
good comedic chops.
He plays asshole really well. Like,
nice.
it's you kind of sit there going, oh, I kind of wonder if he is an asshole sometimes. Like, but like, he's really, really fun in the movie, and Gosling is he's kind of underrated sometimes too in his comedic performances and in his dialogue. I mean, he's not. It's really dry always when he does it, but he's really fun in the movie, and
that's good.
Dear Lord, the action is just fun and beautifully shot. Like, you can see it's sad that movies cost so much to make, but if you've ever had the pleasure to work on a movie and to know where the funding goes, you can see it. I kind of wonder sometimes too, though, especially when the pandemic is going on, like, how much of that cost was because of COVID protocols and that kind of thing.
A ton of it went.
Especially with so many people in close proximity.
Everybody would have to have their own trailers, excessively amounts of, like, more trailers to keep them separated and everything else. Yeah.
So I kind of wonder a little bit if maybe 60, if not more, of that wasn't just. But Netflix is banking heavily. Red Notice did very well, like, for Netflix. Like, it got a lot of a lot of subscribers, a lot of people resubscribed for Red Notice, which I don't know if you ever saw that.
I have not yet. No, I need
to. It was
to.
really fun. It was actually a very fun movie. I'm going to say The Gray Man's probably a better action film.
Okay.
But you've got Ryan Reynolds, and The Rock. And
the last one that I saw was The Adam Project. I'll tell you that
was a great one too. That was a great one too, and that was directed by the guy who directed most of the episodes of the Stranger Things this last season. I can't think of his name, but he's a really pretty great director himself. But overall, like I'm gonna give a good thumbs up on just one. If you got Netflix, watch it. I don't know. I've never understood why. Like, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, if you like action movies, watch it. If you don't. But definitely, if you like good action films that are like just beautifully shot and fun to watch, and just some crazy intense scenarios, and it's just something fun to really watch and sink your teeth into. And like I said, Chris Evans is just really fun to watch in it. And they're talking about making this a series kind of on par with the Bourne movies. So if that's the case, okay, bring it on.
Like a series of films.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So they definitely set it up. So
nice.
Yeah, definitely. I could see it happening. And we talked the last episode about the Ryan Gosling with his future Barbie movie coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious too, and I've heard some rumors about him in the MCU. So. And the fact that he's dealing with the Russo brothers and what we're about to talk about in a minute, I can see, maybe we'll see. I can see him in about 2 or 3 characters. There's about 2 or 3. I could really see him as a Scott Summers. Like, absolutely see him as Cyclops.
I would actually be okay with that.
Yeah, I would. But the problem is you would have to have older X-Men. To definitely fulfill that. But anyway, we're going to move on to one last movie, and then we're going to go into the San Diego Comic-Con stuff. So I finally got to see Thor. Like,
Love and Thunder.
I don't want to give any spoilers away. It's very hard for me not to. But I will say this. This was their first romantic comedy.
Nice.
It is a tried and true Taika Waititi movie. Like, absolutely, this is one of his movies. Like, if you don't like a Taika movie, probably not gonna like this movie. Like,
he directed Ragnarok too, didn't he? Or no?
He did, but these are different movies.
Yeah. Well, Ragnarok, though, was comedy and action.
Yeah, and this is definitely
the same
comedy
vein.
and action.
Yeah.
Ish, but this is definitely aimed more at the romantic, like the colloquial chick flick, as people would say. Like, I'm not a big fan of that term because, like, I like these movies, so whatever. But it's very much a comedic movie, definitely. And I've had a lot of people, I've had discussions with them about the fact that there's been a lot of MCU properties that have been really funny lately, and really worried about, is this the direction? Are they all going to be silly? Or are they all going to be funny? And I was like, no. I think the issue is Endgame and the last 2 Avenger movies were so damn
serious,
dark and serious that I think they wanted an upswing. And right now we're in that phase 2 type of situation where it's a world building situation as well. And if you remember Phase 2 was right about Phase 2 was probably one of the weaker phases in the MCU history. Like, that was all about building up the Avengers and building up everything. And so you felt like, oh, okay, well, now we've got all these characters, and they did, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but they did, with this last phase, Phase 4, they've done 50 hours of content. That's like insane amount of content for a phase. That's like way more than they've done with the other ones. And so
okay,
between TV series and movies, they've done
what phase are we in right now?
Right now we're in Phase 4.
Okay,
we're going into like Phase 4.
We're about to go to Phase 5.
Phase 5. We're going to Phase 5. Phase 4 ends with She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever.
Okay, gotcha.
That Wakanda Forever is the end of Phase 4.
Okay.
So, but Thor: Love and Thunder continues where the last Avengers movie ends off, where you have the Thor going off with the Guardians of the Galaxy,
right,
and shows him change, into they
a
say
more laid back version,
from dad bod to god bod.
Yeah.
Thor, which I almost want a 2-pack figures for that. It is incredibly silly, and
he's a lot more laid back now. Yeah,
to a point, but there is a whole thing where he decides that he is going to I don't know, like, try to become more thin, and he talks about keeping people at arm's length and all this kind of stuff, and it deals with emotion and love, and who better to have around him than the Guardians and their little ragtag family, and especially with the issues going on with Star-Lord and the end of what happens with the Avengers. And, he loses the love, his love of his life, ends up with another version of her, but that's not her. And so it kind of,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't.
I was wondering how they were bringing her back, and I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Gamora, they brought her back, but she's not the Gamora that went through all.
She doesn't have the same memories. Yeah.
Yep. So, but they end up, doing the type of thing where, it'll be really funny, and then it'll switch to something really dark, and then really funny, and then really dark. And then Christian Bale, his take on the I always forget his name, the character's name, but the God Butcher.
The God Butcher, yeah.
His take on him is freaking really good. Very, very awesome introduction to the character. Very creepy at times, almost Voldemortian at times, if that's a word.
Which he can be extremely creepy. Yes, I'm definitely aware of that.
Christian Bale is one of the most versatile actors that we've ever had. Like, he's almost like Gary Oldman in the fact that he can switch. Like, we saw a trailer for a movie that's coming out with Christian Bale, that takes place, I believe, after World War II.
Cool. That
looks really, really good. That we literally saw the trailer right before this movie, and I cannot remember the name of it. But my wife is like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Christian Bale." And then we started watching the movie, and she's like, who's playing that guy? And I was like, Christian Bale.
That's
and she's
Christian
like,
Bale.
what? It's like, is he in everything right now? I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe.
They do that, yeah. They go in spurts.
Well, especially how everything got stacked with the pandemic. I mean, freaking Tom Cruise has like 5 movies coming out. Like,
yeah, it's usually it's usually anywhere from 3 to 5 films at a time per actor. Yeah,
and then now he's got like Mission Impossible and Top Gun in the same same summer, pretty much. So it's
true.
But anyway, I really liked how they did the Mighty Thor character, the Jane Foster stuff. We get to see a few characters that you got to see them grow and change. They deal with the new Asgard stuff a little bit more. They go into the fact that, you know, the Asgardians have come to Earth and they've basically made a life for themselves. And I will even say this is a tiny spoiler, but they even show the actors from the last Thor movies. They're back. The actors that played Thor and Loki, and one of them's a very specific actor that Matt Damon, in case you didn't notice.
Matt Damon.
He comes back in it, and he even has more lines, and so it's just it's great, and I really enjoyed it, and I can see where some people are like, come on, stop with the jokey stuff, but the stuff we're about to talk about in a minute with the San Diego Comic-Con, you're gonna get your darker stuff. You're gonna get your entry. You're gonna get all that stuff coming up pretty soon. So that's the thing that the MCU has tried to do, and you know, they are a money production line. That is what Disney does best.
What?
They produce a product that is at least decent enough to make people come back for more.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be the best thing, but it does. Like, they're going to try to at least make it to where you want to come back for the next one.
Yeah, it does its job.
It does its job. And sometimes you get a Guardians, and sometimes you get an Eternals.
Yes.
Most of the times lately, I feel like you've gotten more Guardians and Eternals. Like, I feel like you've gotten more Guardians than you have Iron Man 2s. Like, or
3s.
Which I don't hate as much as you do, but it's still I feel as a whole, they might not be the greatest movies in the series, but you definitely get okay ones. Yeah. And now, is that long term a good thing? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But finishing up my thoughts with Thor is, if you don't like the comedic stuff, you're probably not gonna be a fan. But if you like the MCU, it's gonna be on Disney Plus probably in a month and a half. Just watch it then. But if not, and you can go to the theater, go watch it. Like, it's fun. It was a blast for me, and there's a lot of heart to it. And that's the thing, is as long as they can continue to put heart, at least fake it, I'm gonna feel it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be
moments.
And like I was telling this, there's a couple of friends that we were talking about the humor and about the change with the Marvel stuff lately, and I was like, I come from the dark time of when there were comic book movies like Steel and those kind of movies, and so for me to, like, that's my benchmark. That's where I go, look, I grew up watching these movies as comic movies. You get to grow up watching freaking,
amazing versions.
you get to watch this, which is infinitely better than Steel. So, like, we all have, you can like what you like, but I'm telling you,
you've got it good now.
You've got it good, buddy. You got it good. Enjoy this, because just like every genre, like westerns or zombies or whatever, it's gonna come to its end. Like it'll be less and less comic book movies. At some point in the near future, we'll probably have one or two. It'll start out. We'll get one or two projects, and then it'll be like maybe one. It'll happen in the next 20 years. Well, the comic movies will change. It'll be something else will come into, popularity.
In the year 3000.
In the year 2000. But the thing is, we have so much Marvel to mine. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit, yeah.
So, speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and move into our San Diego talk, even though we've already talked for about an hour, probably, but we'll get through
hour 6 minutes, yeah.
So, let's go into Talk Nerdy to Me.
Talk nerdy to me.
So, the San Diego Comic-Con has come and gone, and it was a real convention. It was the first real, San Diego Comic-Con in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They, over in Hall H, they did the big Marvel event, which it's the first time in 3 years. And one could say even 3 years ago, it wasn't that big of an event. They were kind of pulling away for D23 at that point. But I think they wanted to kind of come out swinging, which makes me think D23 is coming up still. So I'm kind of wondering what we're going to see during that. But they came out. They had Kevin Feige pretty much front and center for their Hall H panel, which was great to see. Like I said, 3 years, and he's even like, I didn't know if this would ever happen again. Like, I wasn't sure if we were ever going to be able to do this ever again. And so they went through, and he was like, okay, I think they know that there's a lot of people that they haven't come out and really told us what's the direction for the MCU. Like, we haven't really got a good direction of what's happening, where things are going. We know that there's been this crazy amount of content for this phase.
Yeah. It's always been right now, up until now, it's always been like the middle section of the current stuff.
And we know that there's like an Avengers coming, or we know that there's something coming. Like, we kind of know, like, if you're big into Marvel, after watching Loki, that Kang is definitely on his way.
Yeah.
King the Conqueror.
But we didn't know the full end game, pun intended, of what's coming.
What's coming. Like, what's the Thanos, what's the Thanos 2.0?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's been kind of okay. You see kind of some theming going on. They've dealt a lot with religion and gods and dimensions and that kind of thing. And so
the multiverse.
The multiverse, but also if you have noticed, if watching Miss Marvel and whatnot, they have really been dealing with religion too, which has been interesting. They deal with that somewhat in Thor: Love and Thunder as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And so it's an interesting idea, but where is this going? Like, what is the big bad? Because by right about now, we were getting Thanos floating in the chair, or something. You knew, okay, the stones. Okay, we know this is one of the stones. We know what's coming. What's coming? So Kevin Feige comes out and basically says, okay, hey, the end of season 4 is about to happen, like in November.
Phase 4.
Phase 4 will end, Phase 4, the last two things for Phase 4 are She-Hulk, which comes out, I believe, next month.
I was going to say it's next month, I think, yeah.
And then in November, we get, which is crazy because we've had so much content. It's like, wait a minute, I don't get
This is already out? What?
Wait, we don't get anything from August to November, which is the last part of Phase 4, which is Wakanda Forever. And I was like, oh my god, we've been so used to getting so much content that like me thinking that distance is long is really not that long.
It's not long at all, yeah.
And so, but they ended up showing a new trailer for She-Hulk, which was definitely they took a lot of the criticism to heart, and they showed a very it's a better trailer. 2, it shows a way better visualization of like her CGI is way better. Like it is just flat out like it's on par with
Hulk. Yeah, for sure.
And it works a lot better. And I'm just thinking, why didn't they just show that to begin with?
Yeah, like it's almost like they did a rough cut last time, which is stupid.
Yeah, and they knew San Diego was coming, so why not just wait till San Diego? And that doesn't make sense. But the trailer it reminds me very much of the some of my favorite comics that they've done with She-Hulk, where she's like, I don't want to be She-Hulk. I really would rather just be a lawyer.
Right.
And then at the same time, I don't really want to be a lawyer. I want to be She-Hulk and be the popular kid.
Right.
And they deal with all that in the trailer, and you can see that she talks at least once, breaking the fourth wall. So,
that's what I was going to mention. Yeah. I love that scene so much. I was like, a fourth wall. Yes.
I mean, I was thinking, they said this is their workplace comedy. This is their, if they're going to try to do
it makes so much sense that they did that. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like there was a TV series in the either late 90s or early 2000, Ally McBeal, which is about a lawyer. I believe she was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I always thought that that's pretty much how She-Hulk would work best if they made basically Ally McBeal with superheroes. Right. And that's pretty much what they're doing. And it looks really fun and funny. And, they're 30-minute little things where we're going to get bits and pieces of some of the characters. They said in the at the panel that they're basically telling us there's going to be a bunch of characters that you normally are not going to get in comedy situations that you're going to get in comedy situations.
That's
during the show.
I cannot wait.
So you're going to get, like, I'm pretty sure you see in the trailer it at the very end. I'm pretty sure that's Daredevil.
It is, yes.
With the Billy Club things, and
he's got a new suit.
And then you're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Fisk, and you don't see, because I know Fisk is coming to Echo. He's pretty much announced that.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
But there's another show we'll talk about.
Because Echo, if I remember correctly, Echo was the girl on Hawkeye, right?
Hawkeye. Yeah. Yeah, you're correct. The deaf
one,
girl. Yeah. But so they talk about the end of the they talk about She-Hulk. She-Hulk is great, and then they move into, well, actually technically they just say Wakanda, but at the end they really showed Wakanda at the very, very end.
The
Wakanda
trailer.
Forever.
Yeah.
And the panel was very touching. I mean, talking about Chadwick and dealing with, I mean, the man just sounds like he was an awesome human being, and so
he was very much so.
To show him the praise he deserved, and to also, it was very hard for them. You could tell to say, "Hey, look, here's this praise, but also here's this cool shit. Mm-hmm. Here's all this cool nerd shit to look at." Like it was a big line they had to straddle, and then at the same time, they're still hiding who is the next
and
one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm pretty sure that was a female body, but
I was gonna say it's supposed to be his sister.
I'm pretty sure it's
her,
remember, but I'm not quite sure. But the trailer was really good. I really enjoyed it. But the big thing was Namor. The fact that we're getting Namor, like the
that's what the underwater scene was for. Okay.
Yep, that's Namor, which is, if people don't know, that is the Marvel's version of the Marvel. That's Marvel's version of Aquaman, essentially. And he even has slight telepathic power with the fishes.
Slight.
But he was, if I remember correctly, he's actually considered Marvel's first mutant.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Take that as it is.
Yeah.
But so that is the end of Phase 4. So Kevin Feige turns around and basically says, "Hey guys, want to hear about Phase 5 and 6? And they're like, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah." We're ripping off shirts and stuff. So we're gonna bust through these real quick because we don't really have time to go through each one. Like super hardcore. What I would like to do is, in the next couple episodes, if new stuff comes up or the trailers that they showed privately that aren't open to the public, if those come out, we can talk about them. Because talking about people talking about trailers that they've seen is really annoying. I would rather just kind of go through the list. So, they started things off with Quantumania, which is the third of the Ant-Man movies. And then, which I'm a fan. To me, they're the smaller. They almost felt like they were TV series, to be honest, to begin with, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is so much stuff in the current phase of Marvel stuff with Ant-Man that I would love to, like, they mentioned a podcast on Miss Marvel, and then
which I thought was already happening.
That was a rumor, and I hope it does happen. I thought
they were actually already doing that.
They haven't yet, but that might happen soon at some point. They were talking about doing it, but even the Avenger Academy that opened up at Disneyland, they have a video at the restaurant that's there at Avenger Campus. That is a Pym particle restaurant.
Nice.
They have him talking about saving the world, and they even talk about the Thanos theory. They mention it at a restaurant at Disneyland.
That's
about
amazing.
The fact that Ant-Man could have gone up Thanos' ass and exploded him from the inside out.
For sure.
I'm just
he could have.
Sometimes, like I said, Disney puts things on a conveyor belt and makes stuff, and sometimes you get great content like that. You're just like, oh my god, they're talking about the Thanos theory at Disneyland.
That's
anyway
amazing.
So we're getting Quantumania, which also has we'll be showing our very first Kang the Conqueror. Like, we've seen Kang, a version of him in the first season of Loki, but there are multiple versions of him, and we will see apparently Kang. They showed a trailer. We will talk about it later because it'll come out soon, I'm pretty sure. But I've also heard that there's some other couple characters that showed up that sound.
Speaking
pretty
of,
cool.
Real quick,
MODOK apparently shows up.
Oh, nice.
That's all I can say.
Speaking of the actual main characters, though, I saw a picture of what I think would be the poster potentially, and it looks like the daughter is with them.
Yeah, the daughter is with them.
Okay,
there is
good.
an older daughter. They showed her there at the panel.
Okay.
And then the next thing after that is the Agatha Harkness TV series, The Coven of Chaos, which essentially is a sequel to WandaVision.
I thought it was a prequel.
I kind of hope it's both. I hope we get a little bit of beginning and a little after, but I don't know. I mean, I gotta be honest.
On WandaVision, she's stuck in that realm now.
But there could be a little bit of A and B. Yeah. I mean, there literally could be. So, but other than that, I don't know anything else about it. Mm-hmm. After that is the Marvels, which I'm extremely excited for. Captain Marvel, the movie, has its moments where you're kind of like, it's okay. It's just one of the weaker of the MCU movies, and it felt like it felt like a Phase 1 movie.
It felt like a Phase 1 almost. Yeah, exactly.
Which is really odd, because it was Phase 3 or whatever.
But it would have had to have been a Phase 1 because it's a prequel of sorts.
No, it is considered timeline-wise would be, but it feels like one. Sense. But it's a Phase 3 movie. It is really weird. But in the chronological order, it would be pretty much a Phase 1. Yeah. But anyway, the Marvels is coming out. They didn't really show too much. But it's in production. Like most of these that we're talking about, by the way, for until about halfway through this list are in production right now.
Yeah.
So holy crap. Like that's a lot of stuff in production. But anyway, it has Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
In it, and I don't know.
I cannot wait to watch. Actually,
I have no idea about the plot, but I loved Miss Marvel, and I want to see the relationship between her and Captain Marvel. I'm really kind of excited to see.
And I'm digging goes. Captain Marvel's new hair.
Now, well, that's pretty much one of the iconic versions of her hair too. So in the comics now. The next thing after that is Blade. I'm really hoping that Blade ties into, like, at some point. I'm hoping we're gonna get the suns, the whole like that whole dark Midnight Sun. Yeah. I'm really hoping we get that and Ghost Rider and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, if we're getting a Fantastic Four movie coming, they can give us another Ghost Rider movie. That's actually MCU. So, I mean...
that would be nice, yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well, I thought they were already. I thought that was one of the things.
Not on the list
It's not on the list, but it's rumors.
Yeah. But after that, they didn't really show anything, but we know it's coming. But it's in production. The next one after that is Captain America, New World Order, with a brand new newly minted Captain America. After Falcon became Captain America. I was going to say you're talking Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So he's getting his own Captain America movie, and I am excited, and I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to get like a Civil War or a Winter Soldier or any of those kind of like. Are we going to get that spy kind of Captain America movie? Are we going to get a flat out action movie? Like what kind of movie are we going to get in Captain America? That's really, so the next thing after that is the Daredevil TV series. This is the second version of the series, but here's the thing. It is, everybody's back. It's technically sounds like a continuation.
Right.
But I don't think it's a continuation. And so I'm not sure if that was the Netflix stuff is considered a different universe, or if it's like, I don't know how that's all going to work.
It's No, it's not a different universe. It's the same character, same people. So
it's still going to be the same people, but
it should be directly from that series.
The problem is a lot of the Netflix shows, other than mentioning the event, which was the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, they're not really tied in. It's almost like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel tied in to the
But this is their way of now doing that.
It's up to how they feel like they're going to end up doing. I mean, I don't know at this point, but all I know is we're getting like 18 episodes, which is the biggest order. I don't know if they're all going to be an hour episodes or not.
Yeah.
But
and you mentioned, or we mentioned earlier, that you see a glimpse of him in She-Hulk trailer.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It was him, and he has the red and yellow suit.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see
brown
what
and yellow, whichever what that is.
I'm curious to see how everything ties together. Like the problem is they tend to, the TV stuff up until the Disney Plus stuff has been kind of isolated in its own area where it's connected, but it's not totally connected. So,
ABC's Shield was connected because it was a direct connection to the films.
But the problem is, but it isn't, because there are certain things that are considered that like get retroactively changed in movies or in other stuff as well. There was a huge issue, from what I've been told. There was a huge issue at the time between Feige and the person that was in charge of television over at for Marvel TV and ABC and whatnot. So it's kind of one of those things where it's connected, but kind of thing. And I want it to be fully fledged, 100% connected. Especially, I'm a huge fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I watched it all the way through, and actually really love this series. Especially the last several seasons that just kind of like went way out of into left field. And you're like, okay,
the jumping shark,
but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. It actually pulled off quite well.
But so we got Daredevil, which I'm really excited to see more of. But right after Daredevil, we get Echo, and Echo and Daredevil will definitely have crossovers. So
I can see that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Especially with the connection with Fisk and Echo. And then they had a huge presentation for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which James Gunn was very happy that he's like, I'm done. I finished, because it's done. The movie's done.
Yeah.
They did it. They also filmed a Christmas special.
Yeah.
That is going to introduce a pretty big character into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Christmas special will. And then,
which I get a giggle out of hearing that they have a special.
Oh, I'm excited. The fact that we're getting
because it reminds me of Star Wars in their specials.
Well, they don't have. And this makes me think they're not showing everything, because we know for a fact that there is a Marvel special that's going to be during Halloween. That's Werewolf by Night, which, if you know, in the comics, Werewolf by Night was the very first.
Was the Moon Knight.
Was Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight came from Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. And
the huge rumor is it'll be Moon Knight will be in that as well, fighting the werewolf and all this kind of stuff.
Which would lead into the next season.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm betting we're going to see a few D23 stuff at this point. Like, I can't imagine them not saving a few things.
Oh yeah.
Especially things that have to do with Disney Plus. Like, they probably want to keep a few things to show at D23. But anyway, Guardians look great. They showed a trailer, but it is one of the trailers, unfortunately, that they didn't show. They showed the audience, but it has not come out publicly.
Right.
I've read about it. It sounds interesting, but I'd rather wait till it comes out till we can actually see it, so we can talk about it.
Right now, it's an exclusive Comic-Con one.
The discussion between his James Gunn's brother is actually one of the Guardians now. He was one of the Ravagers originally. He's also the one who did Rocket's mocap through all the movies.
Oh, that's
cool. So he's technically acted in all three movies. He is. They actually show him in Thor: Love and Thunder as well on the ship. And,
that's cool.
And so, but he talks about like the fact that he got to make a movie with his brother, and they all got really emotional. And whatever they showed, the trailer, they all got very emotional about it. Like they were all teary-eyed and stuff. And so I'm kind of like, well, shit. Like, I mean, one of them isn't coming out of this movie.
Right.
If not more than one. My bet's Drax, just because of contract issues that's been happening forever. And he's said on several occasions that he's not interested in coming back if James isn't directing it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Drax, but I wouldn't be surprised if not 2 or 3 of them don't come away out of it. Or maybe all of them come out okay.
I mean, at some point, you would have to bring in Nova.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I would like to see a Nova, but that's the thing. How we're talking is like, when are they going to milk this? When are we going to hit that thing where there's too many characters? And then we're like, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Nova, or I wouldn't mind seeing a, there are plenty of characters that I would love to see. So, but after that, we get Ironheart, which,
cannot wait.
You're not familiar for Ironheart, is essentially Tony Stark, his Iron Man project and everything, get a new person. And there is a race, as it were, to restart the Iron Man project. And that's really all. I want to get into that until we get at least a trailer. Loki 2, they talked about, which I believe, if I'm correct, I think Loki 2 might be the beginning. No. It's not the beginning. Loki 2 is still Phase 5.
Okay.
Phase 6 Phase 5 still is Secret Invasion, which is a TV series, which will have Colby Smulders, is that her name? And of course, our favorite eye patch wearing special agent man himself,
Nick Fury.
Yep. It's basically dealing. Yeah. It's basically dealing with. It's the precursor to something that's coming up later. It's going to deal with the Kree, and it's going to deal with all this stuff. But they're saying that it's, if you want your dark, you want your, who do you trust, kind of thing. That's going to be your cup of tea. That's going to be your Winter Soldier type of movie or TV series.
The TV series, yeah.
And so I'm kind of excited. And then they talked about Thunderbolts, which, if you don't know what Thunderbolts are,
I have no clue. Yeah,
they're sort of like the Marvel Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And so, cool. Give me that. We've got plenty of really fun bad guys in the MCU. Give me that crew. Go ahead and give it to me. But give me a few people I haven't seen yet. That would be a nice way to introduce a few new ones. Now, the beginning of Phase 6 is Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm excited. It depends on 2 things for me, though. One, are Mr. Fantastic, are we going to get Krasinski? Or are we going to get any number of other people that we've heard of? I would like Krasinski. I'd like to see a full run with him. If not, I mean, there are different versions of Reed that things happen to in the comics that aren't exactly good people. So it would be interesting to see, Krasinski maybe come back, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. The original director was going to be the guy who's been directing the last 3 Spider-Man movies. He walked away, said he was kind of done doing superhero movies for a little while. I wouldn't be surprised if Krasinski comes in and directs.
That'd be kind of cool.
Fantastic Four. I mean, he's been, he's proven that he's a decent director, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. So, and then we're rounding things out with Phase 6, and I'm pretty sure I got some of these wrong in here because I think some of these were Phase 6, but somehow my thing got messed up. But Avengers are getting 2 movies to round out the end of what they're calling the Multiverse saga, which, we went through the whole whatever saga, the Stone saga, whatever the hell that, I forgot what it's called now, but we went through that, and now the new saga is called the Multiverse saga, and the first one is called Avengers: The King Dynasty. And the second one, which is 6 months, I'm going to say year, but they say 6 months later, is Avengers: Secret Wars. Okay, yeah. Which I'm excited for. That's a great lead in to whatever the next 5 to 10 years of Marvel will be. Secret Wars was a great comic. It changed the Marvel comics considerably. It might be a great way to lead into something awesome, and it also will give us essentially the end, an end very similar to what we got with the Infinity Saga. Yeah. And
maybe we'll see a live action Miles Morales.
I would love that. I would also really like to see, a black suit, somewhere there, like with Spider-Man. Because if I remember correctly, wasn't that in the Secret Wars?
I want to say it was, yes.
And then, that's a lot of content. That's a lot of movies. That's a lot of TV shows. And there's definitely more that I know that are in production or pre-production or all that. So, listeners, if you've gotten this far, I would really like to know, what do you think? Like, what do you think is too much? Do you think we're... by the way, Thunderbolts is definitely into Phase 5. I just read that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a thing because I think we're going to end there on the news, on all this stuff, because there is a lot more stuff that we could talk about. Shazam trailer, I Am Groot trailer, John Wick trailer, D&D trailer. By the way, they have the gelatinous cube, so go check that out. Yes. Sandman trailer, the House of Dragon game, or whatever, the Game of Thrones prequel, the Lord of the Rings TV series, all that kind of stuff. I think next episode we'll talk about a little bit more. I wouldn't mind talking a little more about Star Trek anyway, because there can never be too much Star Trek talk. They showed a small trailer for Picard, and I wouldn't be surprised some of this stuff actually doesn't kind of shake itself out, and we know more by next week. So we can go through all this, because I have way too much other stuff for us to talk about. And I will say one thing. The Shazam trailer for Shazam 2, I swear to God, if you look at the psychiatrist scene, the Annabelle doll is behind the psychiatrist.
That's what you meant. Okay. I'll have to watch that now.
I swear to God, it's sitting back there. And I was like, dear God. So, I would like to know what you guys think, what everyone out there thinks of the all the Marvel, all the superhero stuff. I mean, it's kind of sad. DC was kind of like, okay, there's a few things coming, but they're problematic right now.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
They've always been.
Well, their big tentpole movie is The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting great positive feedback from the people that have gotten to see it so far.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the guy that's playing the Flash apparently is a train wreck of a human being. Like,
really?
He is getting arrested left and right. And so,
that sucks.
Between that and some of the casting for Aquaman, unfortunately, and a few other things, it's like, the biggest thing other than the Flash is Black Adam, which I'm excited to see. Like, I feel awesome for The Rock to finally he's been trying to get that damn movie made.
He's been trying for a long time.
Decade.
Man.
Like, before there was a DCU or DC, whatever the hell we call it, because it's like, even though, like, there is still some kind of a Snyderverse in a way, because even the trailer for what's it called we just mentioned, it shows Batman and Superman and all that. So, but the big rumor is they were going to finally show some action with Superman coming back. Well, I guess not. So what I wanted to do was end things off with a WTF, or as my wife wanted to call it, a WTFF. What the fuck, Florida? There was a man in Volusia, Florida, that gave his girlfriend, his fiance, a wedding ring, and decided he didn't want to get married. He's like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I live in Florida. I can bend all rules of whatever. And so he turned around and stole the wedding ring from her and gave it to another woman. And so now he's on the run. They're looking for him for a wedding ring that he stole. He stole his own wedding ring, essentially.
Yeah. And
so they're on a manhunt for him. So I guess if you know a man named Joseph Davis, he's 48, you contact the Volusia County Sheriff. They're looking for him. So thank you, Florida. You are the state that keeps on giving. It's not as crazy as the person that threw the alligator through the Wendy's window, but thank you so much. But anyway, that was our San Diego talk. That was our Thor talk. That was our Sniper Elite talk. That was episode 91 of the Fathergamer Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, please follow Mike over on all of the socials, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the Twitch, the Twitters, all of those things. Go ahead and follow him. He's at Silverhawks, no vowels. You can follow me at The Real Eric Gibbs on Twitter. Everything else, because Twitter screwed me over, you can follow me at Fathergamer on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And I would be thrilled for you to come take a look at my stuff and Mike's stuff and follow us and talk to us about these episodes, because it's been a blast to come back and be able to talk nerdy. I am so flippin' happy to be back, and we are going to be doing so much more, and there's going to be a lot more talk about nerdy stuff and gaming, and we're going to be doing some streaming soon, and we have a lot of really cool stuff headed your way. And the thing that I want from you awesome people is one thing only, is I want you to communicate. That is your homework, is for you to communicate, to tell any place you listen to this podcast, give us a rating. A positive would be great. I'm not going to force your hand. I'm not going to hunt you down. I'm not an algorithm. I might, but I would really love it if you would go in and like our podcast and recommend us, and that kind of stuff is really, really awesome, because it helps us get seen by other people. That's the first thing, and the second thing is it makes us feel all warm and cozy, and who doesn't want to make someone feel that way in life? Yeah, that's a good thing you could do for us. So now, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you very much, and as always, achieve greatness and go out there and make the world a little bit better than you found it. Thank you very much.